Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to our series of discussions about genius. Today we're going to focus on the idea of talent. You know that some people seem to be naturally amazing musicians or artists, and most of us assume that talent is something that these people are just born with. But in the early 90s, the researcher K. Anders Ericsson and his colleagues interviewed professional musicians about how much time they spent practicing their instrument, and they found that highly skilled musicians practiced a lot more than less skilled musicians. Ericsson suggested that the main factor in becoming a great musician was not talent, it was actually practice. The average amount of practice of the most successful musicians was about 10,000 hours. So soon, everyone was saying that if you wanted to be really good at something, you just need to be persistent and practice for 10,000 hours. Sounds good, right? Well, it turns out that the research done since that time hasn't completely supported Ericsson's original study. And Ericsson himself has said that 10,000 hours is not a magic number. Our guest today is Dr. Alice Boyle, and she's going to fill us in on what researchers are saying now about talent and practice. Welcome, Dr. Boyle. So tell us, does practice make perfect, or do you need to be born talented?
Thank you for having me. Unfortunately, the answer to your question is kind of complicated. So let me address one thing at a time. First of all, there are a lot of problems with that 10,000 hour number.
Aw, too bad.
One issue is that the quality of practice is important, not just the time spent. Someone who is practicing efficiently can improve more quickly than someone who is practicing inefficiently.
So, what is efficient practice?
Well, that answer depends on your field. For a musician, for example, it might have to do with body position or technique. It can also be related to focus. How hard are you really working on improving while you practice? Another problem with the 10,000 hour number is that the original study was based on how much people said they had practiced in the past. We have since conducted studies where people actually keep track of the hours they spend practicing, which is usually a more accurate measure of the time spent. And when people keep track of the time, the difference in skill between a 10,000 hour person and a 5,000 hour person isn't as clear as we once thought it was.
Oh, I see. So some people don't need 10,000 hours of practice.
That's right. And maybe some people need more. We've found that it's different for different activities. For example, becoming a skilled athlete is different than becoming a skilled musician. And the amount of practice needed also differs among individuals.
So that sounds like some people are just born talented.
Well, that's not really correct either. No one is born a highly skilled musician or athlete. Every skilled activity requires practice. Some people can get there more quickly than others.
So more talented people need to practice less, right?
That's not how it works. Talent is just too simple of a word to describe the complicated differences among people. Some people are more persistent or more motivated than others. Some people are more confident. Every psychological trait that people have is influenced by both nature and nurture. And what we call talent is no different. On the nurture side, there are many differences among highly skilled people that are not about biology at all. For example, some people have a very supportive environment at home. Some have a great mentor or teacher. Some live in an area where they have more opportunities for success in their field.
Okay. So what do you advise for those listeners out there who want to become great at something? Should they still try to practice for 10,000 hours?
Absolutely. You should practice. You should make sure your practice is very efficient. You should get yourself a great teacher, and you should seek out opportunities. It all helps.